Are you an aspiring triathlete training or planning to train for your very first triathlon? If so, in this video, I'm going to give you 7 quick tips to help you crush it on race day. What's up everyone, Jeremy Tri here, back at it again with the Tri Tips. If you're new to this channel, I make videos, vlogs, and reviews all around my triathlon adventures and want to help others get into the sport as well. So if any of that sounds cool to you, consider subscribing. So the following tips are specifically for race day. I'll be doing another video on triathlon training tips to get you up until race morning, but for now, let's jump straight into the race day tips. Tip number 1 is don't eat anything new on race morning. You want to eat foods that are familiar to you. Don't go to Whole Foods the night before, pick up this new oatmeal that you found on sale, and have that on race morning. You want to eat foods that you are familiar with, that are tried and true. For example, me, I like to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana, have that before a race. Sometimes I'll throw in oatmeal if I'm doing a longer distance race, but eat foods that you've had before in the morning and you know that your stomach won't react negatively to. Tip number 2 is get yourself in a good state. Whether it's pumping yourself up with some jams or music or a podcast while you get ready in the morning or on the way to the race, or maybe doing some kind of short meditation, whatever it is that works for you, make sure you do it so that you arrive to the race feeling good about yourself and refreshed and ready for the race ahead. Tip number 3 is get to the race site early. Don't be that person frantically rushing into transition, racking their bike, setting up their gear all stressed out as the MC announces, "Transition closes in 5 minutes." There's no need for added stress on race day, so make sure you get there really early so you can walk into transition, take your time, set up your gear, and make sure you didn't forget anything. Tip number 4 is to optimally organize all your gear in transition. So in order to shave off time from your transitions, you want your gear to be as organized as possible. Everyone is different, but this can be as simple as keeping your helmet on your bike, so when you get back to the swim, you don't have to reach down to the ground to get your helmet. It's already on your bike and ready to go. Or keeping your run gear all in one spot so you're not fumbling around looking for things. I have a whole system as to how I arrange my gear in transition. If you're interested in seeing that video, comment down below, but the bottom line here is be organized with your gear in transition so that you're not wasting any time when you get there. You just pick up your stuff and go. Tip number 5 is to mark your territory in transition. So in triathlon transitions, there are many bike racks and it's very easy to lose your place. So what I like to do is bring a brightly colored bandana, something like this, tie it to a high point on the rack near my bike, and this way I know exactly where my bike is on the bike rack when I come into transition. For me personally, when I get out of the swim, I'm pretty tired, so I just look straight for this pink bandana. I also have a good idea of where the rack is, plus the bandana, and I know exactly where my bike is every single time without fail. Tip number 6 is to take it easy at the beginning of the swim, at the beginning of the bike, and at the beginning of the run. So for the swim, to many beginner triathletes, this may be the most intimidating part of the race. So if this is the case for you, stay at the back of the pack at the start of the swim. And when your wave goes, wait 5, maybe 10 seconds for the majority of the people to swim off, and then you can start swimming. This way you're not involved in the craziness of the thrashing and the clashing of bodies at the start of the swim, and so you don't get tempted to swim at a much higher pace than you train for. Whatever you do, especially at the beginning of the race, don't get tempted to swim as fast as the people around you. Stay calm and allow yourself to settle into the pace that you're familiar with and the pace that you trained for. Once you've settled in and feel like you're getting into a good rhythm, then you could start picking it up, picking people off, and getting to the end of that swim. Now once you get onto that bike, your heart rate will most likely be really elevated because you just swam, you ran into transition, and now you're on the bike. Don't just shoot out like a rocket once you get on the bike. Take it easy, let your heart rate settle down, maybe take a gel, and once you feel like you've settled in, then you could really start hammering it out on the bike. So for the run, just like at the beginning of the bike, take it easy. Your legs are going to feel like jello, but it'll eventually wear off if you just keep on going. Last but not least, tip number 7 is to have fun. Sure, doing your first triathlon can be totally nerve-wracking, but hopefully you put in the training, so all you have to do is trust in yourself, trust in your abilities, and just swim, bike, and run to the finish line. During the race, don't forget to thank a volunteer, or when it gets tough, think about the food or the beer that you'll get after the race. And most of all, think of the feeling that you'll get when you cross that finish line and you'll officially be able to call yourself for the very first time a triathlete. So there you have it. Those are 7 quick tips on how to crush it on your very first triathlon. Make sure to leave a comment down below if I missed any tips, if any of the tips stood out to you, or if you have any tips to share with the beginner triathletes out there that are training for their first race. If you like this video, throw a thumbs up there with the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you aren't already and are interested in more videos like this. Check out my podcast, The Triathlete Beat. I'll be uploading regular podcast episodes there. Once again, I'll link to the podcast in the description below, as well as all of my social media links. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let's get training, and I'll see you next week. Peace. That's a wrap, babe.